So it goes without saying, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Do not do this at home.
I've been on the road, I've been doing shows. Now we eating steak, remember sleeping on
I
the
need
floor.
a lot of attention to do what I'm doing. Welcome everyone, thank you for tuning in. Ryan, thank you
Kitchen house, still trying to flip it out the stove. Rocking fake J's, praying that nobody knows. Watch him take my dog away, it was way too hard to stay composed. If I could see the light of day, I would
Crazy to me that I made
was
that.
tired every day.
It only took me 42 minutes to make a drink on stream. Just 42.
Die too young, 100 miles, die young. Did a good die young.
I don't like short hair, Nico. Bring back the long hair. It's actually really good. I have good news, and I have more good. I only have good news.
How's it going, everyone? Welcome back. Thank you for tuning in. It's my first time back in the... Actually, this is my first live stream from the bar this year. It's been like a month, actually, I think, that I haven't live streamed from here. But today, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm still going to be answering questions, making drinks, and telling stories. But some of my equipment has moved around, so some of these changes might be a little bit slower. I got this, and this is what it looks like on the inside. So we have 12 bottles, empty bottles of Fernet right here, and I'm going to try to turn them into glasses. Which I did like a test run with this a while ago. It worked fine. It wasn't great. I wouldn't have served anything in it because one of the edges was super jagged. So we're gonna see how this turns out. Some of the other stuff that's in here. I think there's like safety gloves. There's some sandpaper so that you can soften the edge of it. King Cat, what's up? Welcome back. How's it going? Let's go back to camera 3 for everybody. Cool. Is this too dark? I adjusted the exposure just slightly. So here are our protective gloves. Look at that. That's my protective glove right there, and my skin inside of it. Already off to a great start. Good start. Also, I forgot to bring my phone with me today, so that's awkward. So we've got these. I think that's probably this is probably for cleaning the inside of the bottle. These are important. You need these little rings for safety. This is for cleaning. It's just a little bristle brush to get inside of a bottle, I think. There's an extra breaks. And then there's this, which I think is like a glass cutting tool specifically. I'll give you guys a close-up of what that looks like. This guy. It looks like a cigar, kind of, but it's not. There's a little diamond tip right there that you can use to etch glass. And then there are the instructions, but we're gonna wait on those. So I'm relatively familiar with the physics behind how this process works. Basically, we're going to try to rapidly heat up and then cool down a very specific portion of the glass in hopes that it shatters in a controlled way. So if we go to camera 2 here, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to the part of the bottle that we want to cut. I'd like to keep as much of this logo intact as possible, but I don't know really if that's going to be feasible. So once you have that etching all the way across, you basically spin this around these dollies. It scratches the surface here. Then you take these O-rings. They're kind of hard to see without a white background. They're still hard to see even with a white background. There, you can kind of see it there. And then you're going to put one on either side of your scratch. So like that kind of, and your scratch would be in here. And then you're going to pour alternating hot water and cold water over that scratch. And basically what these do is it helps to control the shattering and everything, and it helps to direct the water so that you don't heat up more of the bottle. But yeah. Saw you've been playing Halo recently. How's that been going? I'm alright at Halo. So I finished all of the weekly stuff that you can do, like all the weekly challenges. And so I've just been doing ranked competitive. and I'm in Plat 6. My stream is skipping around like crazy. I switched networks that we're connected to down here. There's a dedicated Wi-Fi network for the there's actually 4. We don't need all of them. I need to delete 2 of them. But there are 4 dedicated Wi-Fi networks down here that use a MoCA frequency, so we have a dedicated 200 megabits up and 200 megabits down just for the bar, and then the rest of the house has the remaining like 800 that we have for the gigabit plan that we have. So I think it's probably that. All right, our bitrate is back up. It looks stable. I am not seeing any dropped frames, so I think we're good. Cool. I was connected to the main network, which is great because it has a lot of strength. But that router, the wireless router, is like 1 floor up and then through like 4 more walls, so we had a really weak signal strength. Anyway, so the problem I have right now actually is that I'm afraid of breaking this because I don't know how much pressure those rubbers are putting on there. I don't really have a source of hot water. You guys can probably kind of see the heat dish that's back there. Because I've had to move my microphone, and the mic is actually right here. Do a shoey. I'm not gonna do a shoey just this second, but welcome, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. I moved the microphone, and if I put the kettle up here, you guys will probably still be able to hear me, but there's gonna be like a grrrr the entire time because it's gonna be closer to the mic than I am. So I don't know if I want to do that or if I just want to like put it way off camera and just kind of listen for it to boil, which also sounds incredibly dangerous. I could turn on the espresso machine and use the hot water from the espresso machine. Potentially. And I can't plug that in back here and run it, which is what I was trying to do, because there's too much draw on that circuit. So when I turn it on, everything there shuts down. And I've tried unplugging the ice maker. There's a little heater over there that I don't want to unplug. Good times. Where can I put this thing? Where can I put this thing that isn't going to be incredibly distracting? I could maybe put it back here. Let me see. So far, I managed to successfully make warm water, and that's it. Let's put my cleaning supplies away. All right. Well, if that one trips, then we're screwed. Let me know if that's too loud in the background for you guys. Got any extension cords? I've like a few, but I've already done so much electrical work here that I feel like it would just be dangerous to try and use any more like shortcuts and workarounds in this space. So while we're waiting for that to heat up, actually, I'll make a drink. I haven't actually made myself a cocktail. I haven't made a cocktail just for myself in a long time, but I really want an aged rum old fashioned, so that's what I'm gonna make. We're gonna be using Flor de Caña, their 7-year aged rum. Where's the focus on this thing? There we go. See, beautiful. For a split second, I can see what the camera sees, so for a split second it looked like I was about to just like, hey, cheers, and then like drink straight from this. Yeah, I like that. Okay. It's sweet, so it's probably going to need less sugar or a more turbid sweetener. Let's bitters, because we're going to need those. Picked up a nice, bizarre mix of different bitters. I'll show you guys what those are on camera too here in a second. Oh, why is it so bright? Yeah, I'm gonna change the exposure on that really quick, which luckily should not be that hard. There we go. That's the nice thing about having a declicked lens. There's just a dial for the aperture, basically. So, got that. I need my stirring glass, julep strainer, and I need some kind of sweetener. Found extra goodies. Okay. Set that off to the side. So what I found was a rich black tea syrup that I have, so I'm excited to use that. First things first. Start with 2 ounces. Actually, you know what? I'll do 2.5 ounces of this. Take my julep strainer out. Now, I feel like I kind of got to use Angostura and the Jamaican bitters. It's going to be a lot of sugar content in here, so I imagine I'll probably get away with using a fair amount of bitters. There we go. I grabbed celery bitters just because like this tends to surprise me really well, really pleasantly in different cocktails. I might hold off on that. It adds something savory, and then we're gonna do 2 Peychaud's bitters there. And I'm just gonna do a 1/4 ounce of this because it's a rich syrup. And it's probably not all going to end up in here. Look at that. Okay, now let's add some ice. And then we're gonna stir. Should have pried my ice mold out of here first. Come on. There we go. Hand flavored ice. Perfect. And yes, it's a little football. What's up? Welcome back. How's it been? It has been a while. How you doing? Let's put that away. Zoom out for everybody. Let's do camera 1 for this one. I'm excited for this. Let me see if I have some lemon that I might be able to express over the top of that. And then I'm not going to do anything fancy with this guy. He's just going to go bloop, right in the drink. Alright. Cheers, guys. Let's see how it tastes. The lemon adds just the right amount of lift to everything else, because the rest of these are actually kind of like heavy flavors, heavy like on your palate. They sit and linger there for a while, so that little bit of like bright acidity from the oils expressed over the top helps break those things up and make them a little bit more palatable. I might add the celery, but I think this is actually a fine drink just as it is right now. It's not overly sweet, which is what I was worried about. Now I just need to clean up after myself. That's something I used to tell my bartenders while I was training them was, you're not done making your drink until you've cleaned up. And it was a big enough sticking point for me that I wouldn't send a drink out unless I had cleaned my station first. But I also got very good at like cleaning with one hand while like making something with another hand, and always rinsing everything out pretty much. I also wash my hands a lot. Alright. Finger test. This is why we have thermometers at the bar. Yeah, the water's 160 degrees. I think it's probably hot enough. Let me see if I have... Here it is. Alright. This is going to get really science-y for a minute, and it's probably going to look like I MacGyvered the whole thing, which is fine, because that is part of my brand, I guess. So, because I have to pour the hot water over this, I kind of want to use this rack to hold the bottle still while I pour water here, where the cut is going to be. And this will probably go on top of some other catching device. I want you guys to see it, otherwise I would just do it over the sink. So let me see. I don't think I have another like pan that I could put underneath this. What is up? Welcome, thank you for tuning in. I can't read what I think is Cyrillic lettering, so I have no idea what that says, but thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. I don't have a large container, really. I could try and do it into, like, one of my glass jars. Or I could do it into the trash can, which I also don't want to have to do. But you know what? I think I can go upstairs and I can find one of those really quick. I'm going to give you guys a BRB screen, and I will be right back in a couple minutes. Also, if you've been watching the entire time, we've only been live for 20 minutes, but now might be a good time to get up, drink some water, grab a snack, hydrate, and eat something if you haven't yet today, and we'll be right back.
So it goes without saying, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Do not do this at home.
I've been on the road, I've been doing shows. Now we even steak, remember sleeping on
I
the
need
floor.
a lot of attention to do what I'm doing. Welcome everyone, thank you for tuning in, Rising.
Kitchen house, trying to flip it out the stove. Rocking fake J's, praying that nobody know. I can take my dog away, it was way too hard to stay composed. If I can see the light of day, I already
Crazy to me that I made that. It only took me 42 minutes to make a drink on stream. Just 42. I don't like short hair, Nico. Bring back the long hair. It's actually really good. I have good news and I have more. I only have good news.
Welcome back, everybody. Sorry, I was really focused for just a minute. I'm trying to get this just right. I'm gonna try to get the sticker to stay as well. So first, let's get that first etching on there. And hopefully, if we are the right distance away from the camera, you guys may be able to see the scratch as it appears on the glass. Doesn't seem to be making contact. Hold on. I wonder if I have to... Oh my god, there's a cut going all the way around it, but it is not even. I don't think you guys could see it. Well, at least I don't think it's even. Okay. Well, let me just make sure it goes all the way around. Ooh boy, okay. Okay. Cool. Let's get that in place. Move this out of the way. And I have the bucket here. I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to start with the hot water. Now I kind of wish I had like a ladle or something that would make this a tiny bit safer. this warmed up. Not quite. I'm just spilling it everywhere. Now, just to be sure, I'm gonna do it on both sides because, like, heating this and cooling this evenly seems to be the main trick here. Now for the cold water, we'll turn it sideways so that you guys can see if and when it decides to break. Oh, I can see the cut a lot clearer. I'm just being very dainty. I can feel and hear the glass like chipping and cracking on the inside. All right. Success! Terrifying success. Well, this is not something I think I would let somebody drink out of. But let's go back to camera 3. And I'm gonna have to figure out how to scoot this out of the way. I think part of my problem was like not having a more... Stopper, what's up, dude? Hey, thank you for resubbing. How's it going? I still have your Woodford Reserve. Hold on. Ba-bam. We'll do a shot of that in a minute. Good, been working like crazy. Oh, okay. Well, like good work then, I guess, right? I don't think it's done cracking and breaking yet. That makes me super anxious. I don't really know of anything that I could do with this end, so this is just gonna go in recycling. There we go. Okay, so now I may be able to salvage this. I think I'm probably going to have an easier time and they're going to be more useful because this all the way up there is like a 22 ounce, it's like an English pint glass. So I think I'm going to try and get it here and kind of get it somewhere between like a Collins glass and a rock, or it would be like a double rocks glass. Except now I'm going to have one hell of a time trying to... There's also, hold on. There's an extra piece of glass in there. There we go. Yeah, that's fun. So, I wonder, I don't know, I would imagine this is probably not advisable to do it this way. But I think I can salvage this one first before I put the rubber bands on there. Let me get this set up just right. There we go. I think if I do it this way, then I may be able to get away with just dunking it to break it. Alright, let me get a closer look at the scratch. It doesn't look like it's going all the way around. So what I imagine is going to happen is because the glass cutter is having to go through the plastic right here on this sticker, I think it's going to crack upwards there. Dratch, what's up? Thank you for this. Wait, hold on a second. Stopper, did you gift a bunch of subs again? Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I don't have all of my notifications and stuff up. That's my fault. Also, I can't hear the stream anymore. Thank you for those, guys. And also, if you got one of those subs, well earned, well deserved. Use up those emotes here in the Discord and everywhere on Twitch that you can. Our personal favorite is to use the shook emotes and then the martini emote. I'm gonna try and just dunk this. The trick is that the glass actually has to get cold and then it has to get hot. So you can't just exchange them really rapidly between the two. I'm terrified of what is about to happen. Alright, time for shots. That old fashioned's really good. Shook, shook, shook. And bread? Is that what that is? God, that takes me back. Alright. That probably ended up being maybe an ounce and a quarter, ounce and a half. Alright. Raise them if you got them. You don't have to have a glass, and if you do have a glass, you do not have to have alcohol in it, but thank you guys for tuning in and making this possible. Cheers. So sweet. Alright, how are we doing? Should be sufficiently cold. It's not going to work until suddenly it's just going to go and fall into the thing. The Gorgonzilats. Oh, I guess you could also do that. You could do shook, 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 shot. I forgot I made the shot emote. Let me see if maybe the temperature of the water has changed a lot. really a whole lot. Okay, the temperature of the water could probably be a lot colder. Which means, do I have ice? Yes! For once, nobody messed with my ice. Spinning it around to make it colder faster. Did I almost just pretty much throw this in there? Yes, I did. It shouldn't be that scary. I've done this before. It's not like when it breaks, it goes bah everywhere. It just goes plink and then part of it breaks off. Every so often, you'll feel the glass just go like, just click a little bit. Maybe it just didn't scratch all the way. Because, like, now I can't see the scratch. I can definitely see it on the sticker, I just can't see it around this bottle. Where did I put the other? There we go. Let me put this through here. Shot of water. I can hear it scratching. Well, I solved the issue with the sticker, apparently. Once the sticker is wet, it becomes very fragile. Alright. These things are resilient, actually. Oh wait, hold on. I think I can see the crack forming. But not right here. That gives me pause. Hold on. You guys might be able to hear that now. Okay, that's got to be scratched all the way around. Okay. Alright. This one might be it. I think the like hand glass cutting tool, the glass etching tool, I think it may be for like cracking the last bit of it potentially, or for specifically etching where you need it to be etched. There's definitely, I just realized, probably the easiest way to do this would be while the bottles, the only reason I can do this now is because I've already broken off half of this bottle. The easier way to do it would be to, when the bottle is full, basically make sure that you have a basin that's, you know, the right depth, so that you can just go like, boiling hot pot, ice cold water, boiling hot pot, and you only ever submerge it right up to where it's cracked. Also, I think this kit may be specifically for wine bottles, which tend to have thinner glass, I think. T-Man, what's up? How's it going? Thank you for tuning in on Twitch. I appreciate it. I can already tell this is not going to work. I don't think you guys will be able to see this. Camera 1 is probably the only one that could get it to work. Yeah, I'd have to get a lot closer, but I can see the crack forming, and it's already got a spot where it's just going bloop. And that's, I don't have a tool to cut that or grind it, and I don't have the time to grind it back and forth on sandpaper to get rid of like that huge of a bump. Hold on, I've got a crazy idea. Maybe it's about even temperature exchange. It might be that. I'm gonna move this out of the way now that I'm no longer pouring the hot and cold water. It might also be that the water is either not hot enough or not cold enough, but I feel like that can't be the case because we just did this. wonder if I have a wine bottle that I could test my theory on. For the record, this one had already gone bad. It had been open over there for like a month and a half. It may not be working, but you talking about it is keeping my 5-month-old happy. That's fair. Also, tell them I said hello. Hello, 5-month-old. You there. You there. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. My target demo to the bar stream. Alright, so I feel like this is made out of thinner glass, and I think the kit that I got, admittedly, was very, affordable, I will say. So and I think you're also probably supposed to remove all of the labels and things before you etch the glass, so that the diamond cutter doesn't get, snagged. But, oh, that's not good. That's not supposed to happen. I feel like if it has to go through the label, it just is not going to work. There we go. We'll set that in there until I can remove the label. We'll turn that off until I'm ready to use that again. But we're going to hit pause on converting these into cups. I may have to try and find like a better setup than this to do glass cutting. Where is my flare bottle? Yana TV, welcome. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate. Also, Eric, welcome back. Thank you for tuning in, guys. How's it going? She wants to learn the tips and tricks early. That's super early, but that's fair. I appreciate that. I've also just realized there's a spill back here. Alright, and I'm not going to give that all night to work or not, but we'll see. Yesterday I told you about Blue Protocol. It's basically an anime-styled MMORPG. It looks kind of interesting. Oh, that's right, I don't have my phone on me. Well, I'll look it up when I get back home. There we go. I was like, why can't I throw these anymore? Actually, it has been a while since I've done flair, like, with the intent to make a drink. She may not need bar knowledge for a while, but you streaming it saves my own kitchen from me trying. That's fair. I try and take a lot of that, like, R&D and guesswork and stuff out. I also answer a lot of questions personally, not necessarily through like videos, just like people will DM me like, hey, I really want to learn how to make an old-fashioned, but like I have 3 different people telling me to make it 3 different ways. And I usually my advice is like, make it all 3 ways and then decide which one you like. Like if you're making these for yourself, obviously it's different for work. Whenever you're working, you should never default to your own recipes for different things. Because then, worst case scenario, and this is not worst case scenario, but what likely happens is that, you know, you'll make it some way differently from everyone else, and then that person, one of 2 things will happen. They will either like it or they will not like it. And if they do like it, they'll be disappointed when everyone else is making it right. And they'll think that everyone else is making it wrong. That actually is harmful to the reputation of your bar and restaurant. Firefighter21, what is up? Welcome. Thank you for tuning in on YouTube. How's it going? But your best case scenario, actually, is that they don't like the way that you made it. Because then the other bartenders can just go, oh yeah, I don't think he made it right. I think he might have used maple syrup instead of simple syrup or something like that. But yeah, in general, unless you have a guest who specifically is asking you to make it your way, you shouldn't just take creative license with like your menu cocktails. Doing all right? Thank you for asking. Of course. And I try to always, like, if there's something really simple that I typically change about a cocktail, like when someone comes up to me and they're like, hey man, can I get an old fashioned? And I'm like, oh yeah, sure. Do you have a preference on the whiskey? And they're like, oh, you know, whatever you recommend. And then I'll recommend something simple like Old Granddad Bottled and Bond, which is super affordable. And then I'll ask them, like, you mind if I make it with maple syrup? Or do you want me to just make it classic? The best thing you can do is at least involve your guests. Let them know that you're going to modify things. Can you make a margarita with a twist? Well, I don't have any lemon, or I don't have any lime right now. I couldn't not do it. Let me check my lime cordial. By the way, you guys, I did a bar walkthrough, but there's, we have a whole fridge, and we have a, like a walk-in dry storage area. I can't really explain it that well. It sounds like a lot. It's really not that much. But over there we keep our like cordials and shrubs and things because I don't have a fridge under the bar. Which means if I know that I'm going to make like a daiquiri or something, I have to remember to grab the simple syrup before I start my live streams. But let me see if I have any lime cordial. If I do, then I'll be able to make a margarita. Alright, so we have a couple of things that might make this extra fun. First, let me see if I can even open this. This is a batch of lime cordial that I have. I think there's also mint in here. So I need to strain this in here, and I may need to strain this again. This is a watermelon cordial. Strainer do I want to use? Oh my god, it's like the consistency of honey. Give that a minute to settle through there. Straining it will do a few things. You can probably tell there's not many solids that are actually coming out of the glass container here, out of the jar. but straining it will make it a little bit more pliable. It's going to make it a little bit more liquidy by stripping just some of the solids out. If worst comes to worst, I will taste it, and if it's too sweet, I can add water. If it's not too sweet, then there's not a whole lot that I can do. Oh my god, it's so thick. It's like jelly. Try a different strainer, one with a wider basin. Problem is that I kind of should hold that one. Please, just everything stay at the bottom. And then this, I'm actually going to leave that on its side so that all that liquid is still collected at the bottom there. I actually had the best margarita that I've had so far recently. It was mixed with, it was a mixed berry margarita with mint. Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Like, what is it that's, there's a typical mint and berry dish that's served that way. Can't remember what it is, but typically you see it in like a parfait almost. It sounds like a parfait style cocktail, or flavored cocktail. Yeah, this is like Jell-O. Alright, and as far as I know, that's really all there is in there. That is gonna have to get washed by hand, probably. Thanks for the effort. Yeah, of course. I've actually never tasted this watermelon cordial that I made. It smells like it may not be sweet enough. It also looks like this one probably needs to be strained again. Or it needs to be shaken. Look at that. Looks way more appetizing. Hold on. I may regret this, but... Disclaimer, this is a home bar. I'm allowed to taste out of the spoon. It doesn't taste like there's any sugar in that at all. Okay. Same deal. Kinda wanna make sure this is not gonna kill me. Yeah, that's a cordial. That's basically turned into a shrub. Cool. Alright. I think I can work with both of these. And actually, I may not have to use Curacao. We're gonna use a Reposado tequila, because it's the only tequila I have that I like, and no one's gonna drink this but me, so... Wet hands. Hold on. With a Lunazul bottle, I'm pretty sure you can just... Yeah. Speed pour. Awesome. Shake and drink. Shake and drink. Let me see if I have enough ice here to fill this. It's not really high quality ice, so I'm gonna have to shake it really hard, really fast. Do I make it with counts? No, I should use a measuring tool. We'll use this guy. So we're gonna start 2 ounces of our tequila. Trying to measure these slowly. 2 ounces of our tequila. 3/4 ounce of the watermelon and cordial that we have. 1/2 ounce of our lime shrub. I'm calling it a shrub now. It tastes more like a shrub than it does a cordial. So, where are my straws, by the way? Normally I have 2 metal straws for oh, there. I didn't get any acidity off of that at all. It's missing something. Body? Okay. Let's add a little bit of Curacao and we'll see if that fixes it. Just dump Saint Germain in there. Let's do 1/2 ounce of Curacao. And then we're going to shake it. Just noticed what? I love that the chat is being picked up on the empty wine bottle. Oh, wait, what, really? Maybe on one of the Fernet bottles. But anyway, we'll see if this is good or not. If it's not good, it's my fault more than anything else, obviously. But if it's not good, it's probably going to be because one of these cordials is past its due date. Tastes like a margarita. It's a little bit watery, which is surprising because there's a lot of sweetener and stuff in there. I think there's no sugar in the watermelon, which is remarkable. That it's still good because sugar is a preservative. Tastes good. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to finish that. How long does it take to learn to shake a drink shaker that smoothly? I look like I'm having spasms when I try at home. Oh, it's mostly about just committing. If you do it for work also, and you're doing volume, so you're making a lot of drinks, it's important to pay very specific attention to how you shake, and also don't shake everything exactly the same way all of the time because you'll wear out the same joints. When I first started and things were picking up while we were making cocktails, I had gotten into the habit of always shaking 2 drinks at once. I'll show you what it looks like when I do that really quick. So when I'm shaking 2 drinks, typically they're on my right side, and it's the same up and down motion. And then the one thing that I do differently from other bartenders, I've not seen anybody do this, but typically people focus on the forward shake, but that's why I'll whip it backwards every once in a while, and also like your elbows should be going up and down so that you're rolling the tin. The idea is that you don't want the same ice just being pulverized on either side, so you have to kind of roll the ice as you're shaking, and that's where you get this motion from. There's many ways that you could do it though. 2-handed. When I do it right-handed, I put my thumb on the back, 2 on the small shaker, 2 on the large shaker, and that's my dominant hand. And then with my non-dominant hand, I just put all my fingers back here, and then rest it on the inside of my palm, kind of wrap my thumb around it, and then so it doesn't roll this way, and then like kind of start from your wrists. I don't really have a good way to explain that. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. Is that what I'm doing? I never really given that much thought to it, but same thing. You can do this one side to side. If I'm doing it left-handed, I'll grab the whole back of one like this, and I'll rest this here. Same motion, and then one-handed, thumb underneath on the large shaker, 2 on the small shaker, 2 on the large shaker. Same thing. Kind of roll your elbow, I guess. But different strokes for different folks. There's lots of different kinds of ways to shake cocktails. Ta-da! I learned something new today. So yeah, when you're doing it for work, it's important to teach yourself multiple ways to do it so that you don't wear out the same joints over and over again. After I had been shaking so many cocktails like that, 2 at a time, I got tennis elbow in both of my elbows and tendinitis. I had to wear compression sleeves to work, which is just not a good look. Is that Jasa, I think is how that's pronounced? Welcome, thank you for tuning in. What's your favorite whiskey up to $50? For like a rail whiskey, I would recommend Old Grandad, which is... should be up, yeah. Here. I've got a little bit left in here. This is the Old Grandad Bottled and Bond. For rye, I would say pick up Rittenhouse. You can get Old Overholt Bottled and Bond as well. It depends what you want your whiskey for. The different styles, different strokes for different folks. So like if you're making, for example, a whiskey sour at home, I would probably recommend some sort of bourbon, probably. Something easier to work with than Old Grandad. Maybe on the low end, Jim Beam White Label, which is also Bottled and Bond. And then in the middle, something like Woodford. Made me think, how did the mead turn out that you were making a while ago? Well, we did say it would take a year to finish, and it's not done. We need to rack it though, because it's sitting on a yeast cake currently, which is basically after the yeast reproduces so much it settles to the bottom. So we need to drain it off of that. And then when we're done with that, I think we're moving into another beer project that we have, which has accidentally taken the form of a scientific experiment. So actually, let me grab the notebook for that, and I'll show you guys what I mean. So, regular, unassuming notebook. And then, I don't think you guys will be able to read my handwriting, so I'm not super worried about that. This was me just throwing ideas at a piece of paper for making another beer. Whole page handwritten notes. And then once we figured out the idea that we wanted to pursue, it's not exactly been done before, not the way that we're trying to do it. So I had, because we're using alternative fermenting things, besides like barley essentially to make, barley or wheat to make beer. So I have all of these. I'm going to back up because I don't want anyone stealing my data. These are all of my handwritten notes, breakdown of like the macro composition for different kinds of grains and things like that, and all of the extra nutrients that they have. Which nutrients are helpful for... They tend to be helpful for men, oddly, which is a happy accident, I guess. And then they're also high in magnesium and potassium, which you need for fermentation to take place as well. It's sort of its own natural yeast nutrient, which is cool. There's some steps here, some to-dos that were at the bottom, some math calculating grams of this or that per pound of dry grain and stuff. Some stretch goals. If we could raise some money, that would be really cool. I'm gonna put this back here. Step-by-step production process for how I would like to unroll this, or how I've dreamed of letting you guys in on this project. Next page is where we start talking about all grain brewing and making our own malt. That's a whole thing that actually takes a whole page and a half, handwritten. Because I wasn't satisfied with the directions and the explanations that I could find online, so I just looked at all of them and then made my own. Maybe not the best way to do it, but you know what? This is what we're doing. And then we have the actual procedure here, because we're running it initially as a scientific experiment. We're going to do single grain batches, and then eventually we're going to see if we can reasonably blend those grains for like the best version of the beer. So that's that. This is actually all the equipment and the hypothesis, which is early on, and then this is the beginning of the procedure. After the all grain brewing process is part of the procedure, because you have to do that with all of the dry grains that you have first. If that doesn't work, then we're going to revisit some of the grains that don't do as well as the others, and we're going to see if we can make them as a sake instead. Because sake uses a different kind of like grain washing process. You don't ferment the husk and the bran with everything, or you don't ferment everything with the bran, I think is what it is. And you're supposed to add koji to help basically speed along the fermentation process, make more of those starches readily available for fermentable sugars. Nope, that's a diagram. Oh, this is a diagram of the step-by-step. There's really only 5 phases in the brewing process for each of these 1-gallon batches. And then this is the procedure continued. And then it goes all the way up to bottling. The bottling procedure on a separate page. And then sanitation procedures, 2 different ways, one for spray bottle and then one for submerging certain things. There's some stuff that's like obviously easier to submerge for sanitation purposes, like bottles, and then there's some things that you can't really submerge in a large vat. Like I can't submerge my 7.5 gallon fermenter in a larger container than 7.5 gallons. The biggest stretch goal that we have so far for this project is, I wish I could show this to you guys, but I can't move any of the cameras, but the biggest stretch goal that we have currently is that if there's enough interest in this, and if we can raise enough money, we're going to try to make 30 gallons of the end product beer, the grain blend thing that we're making. We're going to try and make 30 gallons of it and then barrel age it in this used rye whiskey barrel that we have at the bar. We have lots of really weird stuff. But yeah, sorry, that was really long-winded, but obviously it's not like I just sat down with 30 minutes in my afternoon one day and wrote like 12 pages of handwritten notes. This is something that we've been thinking about for a long time and kind of just like letting it sit on the back burner. And I've had some free time not being here, so that's what I've been doing, is figuring out how to do that. The reason I brought that up actually is, one, I'm really proud of those notes, and two, I need to empty the fermenter that still has the mead in it, or I need to buy another one, which I would really not like to have to do because there's only so much space in here. What if... No, never mind. I'll do more like theory crafting and stuff. I need to sit down with Jean-Luc. Jean-Luc's going to be on the project with me. And then I invited Dylan to join us also because we may be hand milling the grains that we're using. So having a big dude here is obviously going to be helpful. And I also just genuinely enjoy being on camera with him. So there's that. No, wait, it was May 13th to be exact. The date is on the mead. Let me see if I can find it. Was on May 14th. I took a screenshot of the live stream and I still have the picture on my phone. I think on the 13th we did everything but pitch the yeast. I think we pitched the yeast on the 14th after it had rested. Just because we couldn't cool it down fast enough. So what month are we in now? January. 4 more months until the mead is finished. I may just bottle it hazy. I may just take it from primary fermentation and just bottle it like that instead of racking it. Or I'll filter it somehow. I'm actually excited to see how that turns out. Let me move some of these things over here, because I've been known to have a bad habit of leaving things that need to be refrigerated out on the bar when I leave. If you're curious, I prefer the rum old fashioned to the super extra margarita that I made. I was close to on May 14th. The mead will be done. Theoretically, I mean, hopefully sooner. It could be done sooner. It can take up to a year. From earlier, speaking of whiskey, they mean the same thing. They're just regional distinction. I'm a whiskey person, and I like Jameson. So Jameson is actually whiskey spelled without an E, because it's Irish whiskey. Fun fact. I think, anyway. What drink, in your opinion, does it work best in? Irish coffee. There's an Irish coffee, and then there's another one that's like that, and then Guinness, I think, and then something else, I can't remember. Or is that an Irish car bomb? I've never had an Irish car bomb because I feel like they're insensitive. It's a fine drink, I just never want to be the guy to order one at a bar. Why do you like Jameson, by the way? We had a bottle that I finished. For Irish whiskeys, Jameson's fine, but it's like it's just the standard. It's where you start. You can really only go up from there. Irish Car Bomb has Guinness. Yeah, but maybe it's a shot of Jameson dropped in a Guinness. feel stupid for not knowing this. Normally, I would have my phone so I could just look it up and look a little bit less stupid, but I've also forgotten my phone. So, I came into work fully smooth brain today. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to dump this out, because I'm not going to be able to drink that and then drive home. Let me think. What other kinds of... For Irish whiskey, I like Jameson for shots. That's about it. I don't think I'd ever drink it just like neat or on the rocks. It's fine in an Irish coffee if you make the Irish coffee correctly and don't drown it in Baileys. My family is heavily Irish. Apparently. So I've been conditioned to like Irish drinks. Also, I had an interesting alcohol experience in my younger years. In short, Jameson straight gets you drunk quick on a budget. That's true. There are other ways to do that that will not hurt you as bad as Jameson will. So, because Jameson is such a massive production, they can't really afford to waste the heads and tails of their distillate. A quick distillation run through really quickly. You have your beer, which whenever you're making whiskey, you have to start with beer. The distillation process doesn't create alcohol. It just separates the alcohol from whatever you've already fermented from everything else. It distills it. It concentrates it. So first you have to have a beer. That beer is then distilled. For Irish whiskey, it has to be distilled in a column still, 3 times distilled. It can only be made from malted barley beer, blended malted barley beer. And yeah. So once it's run through those 3 stills, basically what that means is the vapors from heating up your beer travel up. The alcohol travels higher than where the water boils off, so the alcohol gets collected, and that gets run through 2 more times, at least, as far as I'm aware. And then after that, when you're pulling like your final distillate, like your final product before it's diluted with water, you have the heads, the hearts, and the tails. I always call it the head, body, and tail, but at the head, the heart, and the tail. The head is like rocket fuel. It's the most concentrated, strongest part of your distillate. That's the stuff that's like 99%, 95 to 99% alcohol. Then you have the heart. That's the stuff that tastes the best. It's the easiest to work with. It doesn't have any of those astringent flavors that burn off first, but that's all the stuff that you get in the head. It's all of the things that are more volatile than the alcohol is, so they come out of the system first. And then you have the tails, which is basically like the dirt. It's the very, very last stuff to make it and survive the distillation process. So the thing is, I don't remember exactly how the math works out on this, but the reason that Jameson and other things like it that are mass-produced and affordable, the reason they tend to give you such incredible hangovers, in a bad way, is that they end up having to use so much of the heads and tails in their final product because they can't afford to waste it, and they don't have any programs for repurposing it for other things. The heads of your distillate would be what you would use as biodiesel. So, yeah, hopefully that answers your question. But that's like the difference in quality, even though all of your Irish whiskey has to be 3 times distilled in column stills, and they have to only be made from malted barley. And they also obviously have to be made in Ireland. That's what separates it from everything. They also have to be aged to be Irish whiskey, otherwise I guess it's just Pasheen. Have you tried the new drink from Harrison Morta? Welcome, thank you for tuning in on YouTube, I appreciate it. I feel like this is just the setup to a joke or something. That's how my first experience was with Everclear. My friend told me it was for shots. That's horrible. I've done shots of. I don't. Hopefully, you didn't do the like 185 proof one or whatever. But it ain't. Look it up. I don't have my phone on me. I live stream on Twitch. I have a nice social media following, and I constantly forget to bring my phone to places or charge it. So it's a miracle. It's a pretty significant miracle that I'm even here. It's beer mixed with chili. Oh, so is it like thematically? Would it be similar to like a michelada? Camera 1. Boom. There we go. We can be this close to each other, right? That's fine. I wish I was... There's two people. There are two content creators, really quickly. And we'll gloss over this the same way that I glossed over how distillation works. And didn't deep dive into that too much at all. There are two content creators specifically to do with like mixology and bartending in the service industry that I've taken an interest in recently. One of them is an Australian man named Nick Hamilton, who is actually by trade a singer, but must have bartended somewhere. Either that or he's just incredibly passionate about mixology at home. He's been doing a series of videos showing people how to put drinks together. There's something really inviting and warm about the way that he just isn't pretentious about the way that he puts his drinks together and stuff like that. He's very inviting. I wish I could do more of that stuff when I make that kind of content. And then there's another one who's James Boy Advanced, I think, is his username. It's all one word. But he's a bartender. He's also a singer-songwriter. I'm not. That's not a trend. And he's been doing a lot of these videos talking about like how to be your bartender's best friend, what your drinks say about you, things to do, things not to do at the bar. And he just communicates those things so much more openly than I do. And I don't know exactly what it is. I can't put my finger on it, but that's another person. I just wish I was more like those two people. Let me see if I can scroll up here. It was the one meant for Jungle Juice. I'm not convinced I survived that day, hence my preference for strong whiskeys, vodka, or tequila. Haven't had a drink in over a year. Oh, I'm the one with the 5-month-old, that's why. You can, I mean, I have a 16-month-old. Judge me if you'd like, but I definitely, like, drink around my kid. I'm not, like, ripping shots, getting blasted out, like, blackout drunk in front of my child, but, like, she's definitely seen me drink before. We've taken her to bars, which is not something that I recommend that everyone should do, but there are definitely things that you can do to make that easier on everybody involved. So I have to ease back into having a leisurely drink on the weekend. That makes sense. Come on, trackpad. I just tried the new boiled Cookfield from England as well. It's cream mixed with... What? What? It's cream mixed with wine. Crazy, I know, but the taste is out of this world. Yeah, it sounds like it. I don't like the sound of that. But I'll Google that later. If I remember. Somebody remind me. Somebody DM me on Discord so I don't forget. Hey, y'all, long time no see. Ravina, welcome back. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. I was the pregnant one and nursing, so... Oh, yeah. That's right. What is it that they tell you? It depends on who you ask, by the way. Doctors have opinions on things a lot. Sometimes they don't have scientific evidence. But it depends on who you ask. Our doctor was like, oh, you can have, like, one drink every week. And we were like, so does that mean, like, a glass of wine? And our doctor, no kidding, was like, I mean, it could be a glass of wine, or, like, a beer, or, like, a shot of hard liquor. And we're like, what? That doesn't sound right. JL must be controlling your ads. I just saw one about protein powder. It's probably less that and more just Amazon listening to everything all of the time. I think this might be unpopular from Harrison, but I like a flat, lukewarm beer on a hot day. That's, yeah, probably not a popular opinion to have. Not a bad opinion. When beer is closer to room temperature, it's actually easier to taste. And also, in point of fact, when you're, like, tasting beer at any kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Competitive or retail level, like if you're a brewmeister, you're probably tasting like lukewarm beer, and you're probably tasting flat beer so that you understand how it tastes before you modify the way that it feels by changing the temperature and adding carbonation. What's your opinion on Four Locos? They're banned here in North Carolina, I believe, but I mean, you're not going to stop people from trying to do two things that are bad for their body at the same time. So like, they're just like taking away one energy drink doesn't stop people from drinking like vodka Red Bull or treating themselves to an espresso martini. I don't know what Amazon's on then. I haven't even taken or thought about that stuff since high school. Maybe it's not you. Maybe it's just people near you. Maybe it's just picking up, your phone is picking up other people talking about fitness around you. Four Locos crazy, man. Oh man, yeah. I mean, in fact, I know I've had them before. I don't miss the experience at all. I don't remember very much of it, but I don't miss that experience at all. I don't think I did anything wild or crazy. I just like, my body's a temple. Not really. I just didn't like the way it made me feel. Having my heart racing while also my brain is like shutting down and trying to put me to bed. I can't drink beer. I have a gluten sensitivity, and I've tasted it before and it sucked. Also, gluten-free beer is terrible, just FYI. I think gluten-free, many things are probably terrible by nature of being gluten-free. You have to do so many things to make them palatable otherwise. I can't even walk to my bar now because of my ankle monitor. So any tips on home brewing? Sure. The easiest thing for you to make is going to be cider. Like, go on Amazon, buy some yeast, activate the yeast, and then add that to some sort of sweet fruit juice. Turn it into cider. That's how you start home brewing. I would recommend you do that. You could go the prison route and make like toilet wine or bag wine by trying to capture wild yeast, but I don't do that. You can do that, but also just don't. Rotten oranges in a play. It doesn't have to be oranges. We're not actually in prison. I'm just saying that's the other method that you could use, which would actually be more time consuming probably, but easier than like buying yeast from, not easier necessarily, but it's something you could do like right now. If you have fruit at home, you can go mash up all that fruit, put it in a trash can or a trash bag, and then leave the trash bag open in like your, like maybe your laundry room or in a bathtub, someplace where it's going to be relatively like temperature stable and you're not going to be walking in and out constantly. Like you wouldn't keep it in your bedroom or like in a closet or something. And then you leave it open, and once it's collected enough wild yeast from the atmosphere, then you close it up and cook it like that. Yeah, because that worked so well for Cookham. That was entertaining to watch him try prison wine. What's funny too is that like he did that at the same time that I was making actual legitimate beer. And like watching the two of those processes and how completely different the two of them are. Because I don't think I think he counted the oranges that he used, and that's it. The rest of it was just like, all right, now I'm going to wait 2 days with the bag open and close it. Then I'm going to wait. No, I think it was 24 hours with the bag open, and then he had to close it. And I would not recommend doing that. My dad had it easier before they put stomach irritant and rubbing alcohol. He'd get a quick buzz from it for pennies. Do they put a stomach irritant in rubbing alcohol? I mean, yep, that's a different kind of alcohol. So in your drinks, the alcohol that we're consuming is ethyl alcohol. The alcohol in like rubbing alcohol is isopropyl alcohol, which is not you like you would have an easier time drinking peroxide, which don't do that. So bums don't drink it. I don't know about that. I feel like it would cost them more to do that and intentionally dilute their product, and also having to source some sort of irritant that won't kill you. That seems far-fetched. You're back, Deep Freeze Dust. I am back. I've been here the whole time. No, I'm back though. This is the first time I'm back here behind the bar in 2022. And it's the first time that I've been live from the bar in a month. I've just been doing gaming live streams. I had all of the intentions in the world of recording TikToks while I was here, and then I forgot my phone. So this is it. This is all you get. How do you like me now? Nate Janner? Welcome. Thank you for tuning in on TikTok, on Twitch. Appreciate it. I always like second guess myself. So there's one movement that I've been trying to figure out how to do, or trick, or what I call the movements. The idea is, so like you have your progression of doing like this movement, and then you do this, catch it in front of your face, there, catch it behind your head, and then eventually the idea is that you can hold your other hand over here. It's kind of easy for me. It's easier than it should be because I can see the camera over there. But that's something I've been trying to master. My heart like jumps every time I'm like, whoop, ah. And I am cheating. I'm looking at the monitor every time. I can't not do it. My coolest trick? I think my favorite trick to do, because it tends to catch people off guard, is when I have my stuff sitting up on the bar. Not bottles, because this kind of more difficult to do with a bottle. But I'll like scoop something up and just toss it behind me, and then grab something else and work with it that way. You can do that trick with a bottle. It's just, and the nice thing is that it's a trick that works even if your bottle has a lot of liquid in it. But the more liquid, you can't pull it up as high, because the liquid will continue to travel up even after you've moved the bottle back, because that's how inertia works. So if you pick it up too quickly and throw it back, like, whoosh, and arc it really high, the liquid will continue to woo. So you have to kind of like cheat it and just like whip it back like that. It's probably my favorite one to do. And then my favorite movement to pour would be this one, because I can do it with one hand, which means if I'm pouring something neat, or I have my shaker or something here, I can do that. And then my most impressive trick is that one. That time I actually didn't look. I fully thought that I was just going to break all of these bottles. And then, I mean, I don't really think about how hard each of the movements are, especially because I'm self-taught. So like, if you told me one of them is supposed to be harder than the others, I mean, I get that makes sense. Like, I understand that doing something that you can't see is hard, but then there's also certain tricks. So like, a big thing for me is that first movement I showed you guys, where you pass it behind yourself without looking. The trick is actually to focus on the top of the arc. It's an old juggling trick that you would use. That's why jugglers don't look at their hands. They look up at what they're doing, and whatever it is that you're juggling, you look at the top of those arcs, and that tells your hands where they need to go. So same thing here, you just concentrate on where the top of the arc is, and then you can look away. You should be able to transition to doing something else. But there's like little cheat codes like that if you're paying attention, you can pick up those same things for nearly anything. Even this whole progression here, where you're doing it here and then here. The trick to that is actually to aim next to your ear. you want that to be the peak of your arc, so that way you can go, whoop, and it's always going to be, it's always going to be right here. And then the same thing happens, you just carry it through, aim for the top of your ear, and then your hand should know sort of how that's going to fall. It's a little bit intuition, it's a little bit of vestibular sense, and then a lot of practice and boredom. So, BJ Nord, welcome, thank you for tuning in. Depends on your preference. For me, the first drink I had was a margarita, but I tell my friends who turned 21 to get a rum and coke. Nice, easy into everything. It's a bit easier on the stomach. It depends on what kind of stuff you want to get into. Like if I have a lot of people who ask like, hey, I really want to get I want to treat myself and I want to order something nice, but I also don't want to make a fool of myself because I've never ordered a cocktail at a bar. Not a nice cocktail at a nice bar for sure. And so in that instance, I typically tell them to order a Cosmo, because even though it's perceived for some reason as a gripe because it's pink, I guess, and it's served up, order a Cosmo, and the drink only has 4 ingredients, and each of them are so different from the others that it's really easy to kind of dial in the way that you want it, and that'll tell you kind of what you want out of your cocktails. So if you order a Cosmo and your first one is too sour, then don't send it back. Don't be a dick. But order another one and tell them, hey, this time can you use a little bit less lime juice? Or this time can you use a little bit more cranberry? If it's not sweet enough, ask them to use more curacao or Cointreau or whatever orange liqueur you're using. Unless it's triple sec, in which case you should leave that bar. Ever had a Grasshopper? One of my favorites. I've actually never wanted creme de menthe in anything ever. So no, unfortunately. It's a 2-ingredient cocktail though, isn't it? Hold on. Yeah. Oh, cream. Yeah, creme de menthe, creme de cacao, and 1 ounce of cream, all equal parts. How's it served? Coupe glass. That makes sense. Oh, you know what's funny? This book I got in a gift shop when I was in Key Biscayne in Florida, and since then I just bought it because I was like, you know what? I kind of like how everything's separated. It's very encyclopedic. Or indexical. It's alphabetical going through, and it's organized the way an encyclopedia would be organized, where there are entries for things like lengthener and what that means as far as cocktails go, and then some examples of those, and then every time that you reach a major recipe, like an old fashioned or a grasshopper or a martini, then there's a whole page entry for each of those. Drunk giggles are the best. I like my daughter's giggles. They're so cute. I love when she gets really excited. She laughs a lot, so I always appreciate when she's happy. But there's one way that she laughs where you can tell that she's really excited. It's like she'll try to scream out of excitement, but she's got such tiny lungs that she ends up just going ah! And then she'll giggle and run away. You have to really catch her by surprise to get her to do that, though. Oh, we took her out in the snow yesterday. Perfect. She was so cute. We took her out there with one of my old studio cameras, because you guys, we used to have a 4-camera setup here, and then the 4th camera, for a while it was over here, and for a while it was top down. I never really could find a good use for either of those 2 things. So if I got another camera setup, or if I got another but if I brought my 4th camera back here, I think I would probably point it toward the poker table where we used to play D&D, and that would just be the round table sit down podcast style setup camera. Couple of sips and I'm swaying. I felt so bad for my mom because she had to drive me home and I wouldn't stop talking and giggling. I mean, yeah, alcohol has that effect on some people. I mean, maybe a Cosmo specifically because there's so much sugar in it from the cranberry juice and whatever kind of sweetener you're using. Which in that recipe specifically, your sweetener is your orange liqueur. Had a bartender at a tattoo expo Had a bartender at a tattoo expo suggest trying Fireball with Dr. Pepper. Have you tried it? It wasn't bad at all and made the Fireball more palatable. Also, my daughter just started doing that giggle scream thing, and it's the cutest thing I've ever heard. Isn't it so great? They're like, ah, and then run away. That's what mine does anyway. Sorry, I've never tried that before, but I also don't want to get griefed for this, but I also don't like Dr. Pepper. But hey, if you want to kick that up a notch, you should do Fireball, Falernum, and Coke. Or Falernum, or however you want to pronounce it. If you don't know what Falernum is, it is an almond cordial. That's how I would describe it. You can make it at home. But apparently Coca-Cola and Falernum is very close to the taste of Dr. Pepper. So Coca-Cola, Falernum, and Fireball is probably also really close to what you're talking about there, but probably easier to make. If you're going out and ordering, most bars won't carry Dr. Pepper unless they just have like a drink fountain. So if you're at like a classier place, we'll say, that doesn't have a drink fountain but also does for some reason have Fireball, you're probably safer off asking for something like that, Coke, Falernum, and Fireball. Or any kind of cinnamon whiskey. The Cosmo was all alcohol. It was a watermelon Cosmo with Midori and two other things, but I don't remember. That makes sense. So, but Midori is not like a watermelon specific cordial or liqueur. It's just a melon liqueur that is very sweet. I would imagine that would probably also give you one hell of a hangover. It's not a favorite of mine either. I just figured I'd listen. The expo was in a hotel ballroom, hence the bartender. Sorry for the strange setup to that question. Oh, I thought it was like a bartender that was also attending the same expo. That makes a lot of sense. I should have put two and two together. That's like such an obvious explanation. That's my fault, not your fault. So no, you have nothing to apologize for. I am an idiot. I should have put that together myself. Let me look at the time, look how long we've been live. Cool, we've got a little bit more time. I've just got a little bit more of this old-fashioned, but I'd be keen to share a shot with you guys if you'd like. I've only taken a shot and then like a sip of something else, and then I have this cocktail here. So we've been live for almost 2 hours, and I'm only sitting on, well, probably more than what most people would drink at this point. But that's okay. I could happily do another shot if you guys would like to. Just a 1 ounce shot though. I think the first one I did might have been 1.5 ounces. A shot of tequila. Oh, you know what I should have used instead of the dry curacao? I should have used the ginger liqueur that I have. But where's my shot glass? I've got a small headache coming on, so I don't want anything that might have any histamines in it, so I'm gonna go with the Tito's. Is the exposure for camera 3 set to automatic? It shouldn't be. This shot goes out to Davey, Francis, and everyone else who said that only crazy people do shots of vodka. There are only 3 kinds of people who take shots of vodka. Crazy people, dangerous people, and dangerous crazy people. And me. Never had a... Oh, have I ever had a crazy person at the bar? crazy can be a strong word, but I've definitely had some people. I've definitely seen a lot of strange people come through the bar. Sometimes there are people who are just a little bit off-putting because they just don't know how to be in public, and not in like they're acting up kind of way. Like there's that too, but I feel like that is almost more understandable when you're at a bar. But like people who will show up and kind of like act as though they're celebrities, and they're like, is there any way that we could sit as far away from the rest of the tables as possible? And I'm like, yeah, okay, sure, I guess. And so I'll sit them out in the middle of nowhere in a section that's probably supposed to be closed. And then they'll like ask the bartender to walk them all of their drinks, and they'll like ask to order through the bartender and stuff like that. And this is, and then they're really put off by everything. Like you'll walk up to these tables, and you're like, "Hey guys, just curious, how are those cocktails? Did that one work out? Is it just dry enough for you if they order a martini or whatever?" And then they're like, "I mean, yeah, it's fine." And I'm like, "Cool, fuck me then, I guess." And then I walk away. All right, I'm gonna finish this off stream. But this is going to be the end of the stream. Guys, thank you everyone for tuning in, sticking around, showing up. I do appreciate it. Really quickly, raise them if you got them. You don't have to have a glass, and if you do have a glass, you do not have to have alcohol in it. This is vodka. But cheers to you guys. Thank you for tuning in and making this possible. Here's to you. I'll get used to that eventually. Hopefully, the switchboard between the cameras is here under the bar now. It used to be up here, but that felt kind of really clunky. I like that better right there. I moved it just a little bit. So hopefully, eventually, I'll be able to I'll know exactly where it is without having to look at it all the time. There we go. I'm also, another like pet project that we have, I'm designing the bar that we're going to have to build after we move. And I have an idea of, I don't know what I just did in my hair, but I have kind of an idea of the footprint that we're going to need to replicate something like this. Which is crazy because I'm actually going to scale it back. Originally, I worked on, I think, almost about a dozen designs that had 16-foot back bars. This one is just under 10 feet long. But there's a centerpiece that I want to use. There's a harp from an old upright piano that we have. The harp, by the way, is, or that's what I call it, but it's all of the strings that are actually inside your upright piano. It is an incredibly heavy piece of metal, but I would love to put that back here and put a pane of glass on top of it. Whoa, Echo, you might have my stream open in 2 places. A chill stream, very enjoyable. Thank you, I appreciate it. Guys, thank you everyone for tuning in, sticking around, showing up. Thanks for all of your help and support. Hopefully I have been helpful and supportive for you all as well, since that's why I do everything that I do here. The next live stream is going to be tomorrow, early, but it's going to be a gaming live stream. I'm going to try and squeeze in a couple of hours, probably on Halo, with the new challenges that come out before Hannah goes to work tomorrow. And then after that, it's all family time. So the next time, and that's going to be early, we'll say noon tomorrow is when I'm going to do that. And then, same place. And the next bar stream probably won't be until maybe Saturday, because I kind of need to make sure that Hannah is off work to be able to do this. But, once again, thank you everyone for being here, I do appreciate it. Before I go, be good, be helpful, be kind to each other, and I'll see you guys in the next stream. Take care, everybody.